Peace. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. For those of y'all that don't know me that's on here, I am Mekhihill, the founder of the Better Days Project. And, it's an honor to present to y'all Unfiltered Faith, man. We're doing this because June is Men's Mental Health Month. So I got some very distinguished guests up here, right? And I want to create a space for them to really honor y'all because little do you know it, man, y'all have been monumental on my journey, whether you know it or not. So I just want to give you guys your flowers and tell you thank you, right? Because like even just on my own journey of how I view mental health and navigating that, you guys have really influenced me, my faith journey, and just being a creator, bro. Like y'all really have empowered me. Little do y'all know. So this time right now is just to give y'all flowers, y'all kudos, man, and just to keep going because I don't think there's enough of black men giving other black men their flowers, bro. So I'm just here to tell y'all thank you, keep going. I'm proud of y'all, and let's dive into it, man. So I want to start off by, you guys just introducing yourself to each other, to the audience. If you could just tell the people your name, a little bit about what you do and where you from. So whoever want to start, I think Shaq, I see you first. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess I go by a box. Hey, how everybody's doing? My name is Shakari. I'm a music artist located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Graduated from North Carolina A&T. I'm 29. I am a father, family man. Music artist, minister. That's pretty much the surface level about me. Anything else, we're gonna go deeper and dive into as we get into the discussion.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. All right, I think I see Eric next.
What's up, everybody? My name is Eric Couto. Graduated from LSU in English. I'm currently a Master of Social Work student at Howard University and a practicing therapist. I'm also an artist. I see you, Kari. I rock with the music. But I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Currently moving throughout the South, just working with Mekhi, Shakari. Brother, I'm going to meet you, and I'm excited to meet you, honestly. But excited to talk about men's mental health, excited to talk about mental health in general. And I've been a big advocate for mental health with children, geriatrics, and adult life just since probably like the last 15 years. So excited and blessed to be a part of this. And my connection with Mekhi is, earth shattering. So I appreciate that as well.
Blessings. What's going on, you guys? I'm also a performing artist. I perform under the name Whoami. Uh, I'll be brief, but be quick on how I got there. When I was younger, I grew up in the church. My dad is a pastor. My mom is a teacher. So you can imagine a lot of my life was kind of planned out for me prior to me being able to tap into who I was. So I didn't have a voice early on. And as soon as I found music, it became my voice. And so I spent my years really studying music and performing it and using it in different ways to discover who I was. And I found out during that process that, through me creating music about my journey, it also touched other people on their journey too. So I've been on that journey for maybe the past 10, 12 years, discussing my mental health through the music. And, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for putting the spotlight here. And thank you, brothers, for joining us as well.
Absolutely, bro. I think that's a great segue into my first kind of question because, I strongly believe that the household should be the first place to affirm you before you go out into the world, right? I think your parents should be the ones to let you know that you can go out and conquer the world before you actually do. And I don't think that space kind of was created for me coming up. And I know briefly a little bit about, all three of you guys' backgrounds, but I'm curious to know how did the lack of support or support from family kind of growing up influence the way that you guys viewed yourself, just as a man, but also as an artist and a creator, bro? Like, was that space really created for you to lean into your gifts at a young age?
So we're gonna go in order again.
Yeah, whoever want to jump in, go ahead. I want this to be free flowing. Y'all can kind of jump in, ask questions if anything comes to mind. You feel me? So we'll do it like that.
Good deal. Well, I'm glad you actually asked that question because, like, I had a kind of complex upbringing. With me coming up in a single parent household, my father wasn't present. We kind of developed and cultivated that relationship later on down the road. But growing up, it was just my mom, and my mom was in like survival mode. So she was a hustler. So she was thinking, I gotta make sure my children okay. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to be present as a single parent and do what you got to do for as income. So I didn't have that nurturing going up from my parents. It was, you know, the typical story. Your grandma, she gonna be the one to pour the love into you and nurture you. But it's like that grandma love
It's different.
is like, we know that's priceless, but when you
Facts.
have your parents, it kind of have you questioning yourself, and then it kind of have you looking at yourself like, am I the problem? And then that's when we're talking about abandonment. We're talking about neglect. And coming up where I come from, as far as the neighborhood, you know, you gonna either sell drugs or play ball or be a street dude. Like, that's just what it is. Nobody really gives you a space for music. You know what I mean? So I had always had a passion for it. Like, I would be a kid writing music. Nobody never knew. And as I got older, like my brother said, that's when I found my voice. I found my cadence. I found my rhythm. As far as when I'm listening to music, I learned how to let the music and the instruments pull that cadence and stuff out of me. So for me, like I said, I didn't have nobody nurturing me from that aspect growing up or supporting me. So it kind of had me questioning myself, looking for outside validation for the longest, because you know you don't get that from your parents. So that's pretty much me and my short spiel and gist.
Appreciate you for sharing, bro.
If we gonna keep the same order, I mean, you know, just thinking in that mindset, I'm gonna ring the same bell like Kari did, man. You know, growing up in a household, it was a lot of survival mode, and when you stuck in survival mode and you're trying to provide, the people in the house kind of take second value to the necessities of life to keep you in this space, right? And so, developing music was an outlet for me. It was an outlet for rage. It was an outlet for confusion. It was an outlet for the feeling of abandonment. And so I grew up in a single parent household as well, with just my mom. And watching my mom figure out channels of love, whether it's loving herself, navigating loving her children, especially because my mother is young in relation to my age and in relation to, you know, the average mother, especially, you know, when you think about black and other different cultures. But my mother had me at 18. So you can only imagine how close we are as, you know, people. So going through a household like that when my mother's trying to discover herself and she has two kids, both young, and you know, her dealing with, this is something I learned in school, but the human brain don't even develop till 26. So she at 18 having the kids, she's still a kid herself. So my music really gave me a place to put these the rage and just the different epiphanies I have about life. And then my family, you know, they come from a big successful background as far as education equates success and money equates success. Artistry doesn't, you know, starving artist concept. So the starving artist concept never really got love. So they're watching me do music like, boy, you have a brain. You better do something with that. Like, you sitting here want to play with music. And it's just like, you don't understand how pivotal this is to my heartstrings. You don't understand how much therapy this provides for me. You don't even understand that this is the only way that I can even feel love through myself and through the pain that I feel in this house. So, you know, I feel like that was a big thing.
That was powerful. Was that was one of them peel back the layer moments right there, boy.
For real.
Now, for sure, and both of you guys' stories, you know, really echo mine in a sense. I think this will mean something to you guys as two ministers. One is a father, I know. You know, my parents were young parents as well, so there were never really any conversations about, oh, you can do this, you can do anything you put your mind to, or this is how you deal with your mental health, or anything to that nature. As a matter of fact, very similar to you guys' story, you know, I had to realize that my parents grew up in an era where, like you said, music was not a viable option. My mom wanted me to be an engineer. She actually signed me up to school to be an engineer, like didn't even pick my major. Um, and I had to realize later in life that was her loving on me, because when she grew up, the engineer was really, you know, the top in her class. But as a kid, I'm like, well, why don't you think I could do this thing that I love? So it was really hard on the mental health. But I will say, with a father that is a pastor, we didn't have many direct conversations. But what I got to see um, was a man connect to God himself through reading the word and then putting a scripture and putting it together. And I think I always had that love to do that. And so indirectly, what helped me during those times were to see my dad put those sermons together, because I didn't have music yet, but I knew, even though there was pressure, I knew that there was a way I can connect directly to the source. I can connect directly to myself and bring something into the world because I got to see that. And so, yeah, although it was hard because they didn't get it, I got to watch and I got to look, and I was a middle child only guy, so I had a lot of time to myself, and I got to kind of venture off into the YouTube tutorials, and I met some really good mentors. And once I got my hands on it, like I can actually do it, man, I would be going for days, bro. Because like I said, I finally found my voice. I finally found that outlet. And I think that's important when it comes to mental health, is that goal, that purpose, that thing that you're working toward. Without it, we're wandering aimlessly. And we're a victim to really the enemy and his trials. But once we have that goal, I think that really saved my life, to be honest.
Amen.
Yo, y'all hit it right there on the nail. And I'm gonna come back to the question that I had before, because you said something very powerful, bro. It's like the purpose thing. And when we see a lot of people dealing or struggling with their mental health, it's sometimes because they're out of alignment, right? They're out of alignment with God. And I truly believe that mental health is a tool, bro. And as a creator, to be a creative person means to be obedient to God, right? To be obedient. And I want to know, like, how do you all feel like being a creative, has bettered your mental health?
It's giving me an outlet. It showed me, because when you think about God in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He was a creator. It's in our nature. It's in our divine presence and essence. They tell us that we were made in the image and the likeness of God. So we have the same tendencies to create. That's our desires, to bring something intangible into the manifest of the physical plane. Like, I don't think people understand the gift of that. Like, to be able to create something that's in your head, in your being, and bring it into a manifestation into like the physical realm and introduce it to a world of people, that's a superpower. So when you learn how to channel that, and when you learn how to embrace that and just really immerse yourself into it, and like, I'm gonna just pour this out. I'm gonna get this out of me, because the thing is, you don't want to leave the earth with things still inside you, ideas inside you. You want to get all that out so that you can be fruitful here on earth. So that's how it's bettered me and my mental health, as far as creativity and just my alignment with my faith.
Definitely, bro.
Awesome.
Powerful.
Awesome. I mean, I would agree too. Honestly, creativity just gave me a place to process emotion. When we're talking about God, man, it's so many questions that surround God as you develop through each stage of life. Because even when you go back and read the scripture, when I read the scripture as a kid and reading it now as an adult, and even during my adolescent phase of being a teenager, all of these different things meant different things at times. And as you continue to develop, hopefully you stay connected to God. But even when you disconnect and venture off, right, the creativity gives you a place to have trial and error, to understand and to vocalize that. Because so many other people are doing that same exact dance of what's going on, what is this around me? And though I wanted to say this, the biggest foundation of mental health that causes a lot of cracks is shame and guilt. When we do wrong, we talk about obedience to God. When we do wrong, we don't even want to look at God like, man, look, I know I'm wrong. I don't even want to look at you, dog. But that's the cardinal sin that got Adam and Eve trapped up. Who told you you were naked? You feel me? So when you step into something like that, it's like obedience looks like, yes, doing what I told you, but obedience more looks like, even when you mess up, don't turn your face from me. I am still right here with open arms for you. So the creativity just gave me a place to question myself, to question God in a respectful way, learn how I want to create, and then find my way back to him through the intelligence mediums, through the artistic value of it, and then try to connect with family and forgiveness for myself, forgiveness for the people who wronged me, forgiveness for the emotions that I've had. You feel me?
Yeah. But it's powerful. Hey, this is the healing.
Yeah,
Hey,
nah, for real. For real.
yeah.
Man, no, you guys are going crazy right now. And I would say how music has helped me, creativity has helped me with my mental health. Two ways really, and they align. One, it helped me understand that I'm a vessel for what God has to say. Very very similar to what was said earlier. But if you don't understand that God actually lives inside you and the things that God is trying to bring to the earth, he's trying to bring through you, you don't really see yourself as important. So you put yourself in places that inevitably are going to harm your mental health. Because if it's fighting against your spirit, you got the spirit in you that's like, no, but you meant for more. but all it's seeing outside is not more, it's less. It's less than what you're meant for. That's really what negatively impacts your mental health. But when that music flows through me, it almost makes me a bit more responsible, and it makes me look at certain situations and kind of avoid them and kind of move toward the right direction. And that's what improves my mental health over time. But secondly, and what I would say most importantly, is this concept in music called harmony, right? And with harmony, and I'm a music nerd. Like, I love music. I produce as well. Really trying to get the keys under my hands. But from what I understand so far, what happens in harmony is a chord progression in a song, and you'll hear it in every song after this. It builds tension and then it releases. So the most tense parts of the song, what makes it beautiful is that it gets really hard and difficult and hard to listen to, and then it releases. And I think without music, I wouldn't have had the release to all of my pain, the release to everything that I ever been through, because I didn't finish the cycle. So I just went through all this pain, but it was for nothing. But when I drop a song and I could put that pain on record and somebody could listen and say, yo, bro, I felt that. I'm going through that right now. That it makes me look at all the trials and tribulations I've been through and say, oh no, God is working in this. And we mentioned shame, we mentioned guilt. I'm no longer guilty. I'm no longer shameful. I'm still accountable. I want to be better, but I recognize that everything I've been through, God still has a plan. So I think that's what music has done for me the most out of anything in regards to my mental health here.
It
Yo,
makes you whole. It makes you whole.
We cooking.
it makes you whole and brings you back to the source, man. Like, we're all creative beings. We all have a gift. We all have that seed inside of us. But it's like, when are you going to take that step to go out and plant it? And I think that's what I've been learning on my journey, man, and really been trying to push forward with that a lot, because I feel like sometimes it could be that tug and pull. Like, God put the vision on you already, but it's like, all right, what you waiting on? You got to step. And I think what I commend a lot of y'all for is y'all took that step. Y'all taking it. Regardless, I don't know everything going on in your mind, but it's like, yo, I know y'all. I know y'all doing the work. I know y'all doing the internal work. So, man, that's just so powerful, bro. Y'all all are using, your platform to speak about mental health openly. You guys talk about it in the music. What does mental health mean to y'all? And, like, why do you feel like it's important to kind of talk about this in your music and share it openly?
Because, like I said, I experienced an anxiety attack in 2018 for the first time, and it kind of helped me realize it brought all my traumas to the surface. Because I had an anxiety attack and I didn't know what I was having. Like, nobody never talked to me about mental health, and if you let traumas pile up, eventually they're gonna catch up to you, and then it's gonna cause you to just crash. And that's what I experienced, and it caused me to be hospitalized and institutionalized. I had to go to the 5th floor, and that's when I really connected with God. I took my Bible in there, and it just showed me, like, mental health is real. Like, because we'll be blind to it. Prior to 2018, I had no idea of mental health, what mental health was. People where I come from, hey, they ain't right. Nobody talks about, well, nah, they actually battling with their mental, or they traumatized, or they actually been through something and they don't know how to deal with or process these emotions. So that's how mental health became important to me, because I experienced it firsthand and I seen the effects of it. So from there, I was like, hey, I got to bring attention to this thing.
Yeah, man, y'all doing it.
Yeah, I gotta bring attention to this thing. Like I said, I didn't know what mental health was. I'm 29. That was 7 years ago to 22. I didn't know what anxiety was, depression was. I just thought I was just having a bad day. But, like, nah, I actually been going through this for years. And then when you express this to your family members, you a kid. What you sad for? You ain't got nothing to be sad for. The whole time they don't know, like, man, you might have experienced molestation and they never knew, or you might have been beat. They never knew about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why mental health became important to me, and something I felt the need to advocate for.
You hit on it, bro. It's a lot deeper than the surface than what people really think or see. So, bro, appreciate the vulnerability for just sharing that, man.
Definitely, bro.
I would say I agree 100% with what you just said, man. And to even go further, right? Like they say, you a kid. What do you know about mental health, or what do you know about anxiety? When the child comes out of the womb, bro, like the child is still a complete human being. It just has to develop, so it still can feel. Why do you think babies cry for attention? They already know they need something. They just can't put it into words. So mental health for me is like the capacity to feel the things I feel, the things other people feel, and being able to understand them, express them, and at times control them, at times understand why I can't control them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so complex. And the reason I put it in my music is because, you know, Jesus was the way. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus is the guide. I'm walk like me. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be me, but I'm gonna show you the way. So in my music, I'm not saying I'm Jesus. I'm saying like I'm telling you what I'm going through. If you vibe with that, if you feel like me, there's a place for you here in my music to connect with that feeling. And that's why I say it gives me a place to put my rage, my anger, my shame, my joy, my happiness through the capacity of creativity and intellectualism, which is all things I find as a hobby. So it just gives me a place to be just me and exist. And that's so hard in today. So many things pull your attention, whether that's the pastor, whether that's you and your father's conversations, Mekhi, whether that's the media, for myself, whether that's the therapeutic. So many things are pulling our attention, especially as black men. The stuff we see on the TV, we got war, we got being black, we got all these different things. Where can I just be and just say, you know what? Today I'm going to just relax for a few moments and rest in the fact that I have a life at this moment.
Where can I just be?
Be.
Being. Literally, we're human beings. We're supposed to just be.
Thanks.
Man, I believe the question was why put the mental health in the music, man. And taking a spiritual twist, and I love it. I was just talking to a family member the other day about this specific topic, and I'll just bring the verse up, right? For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you. We can stop there. And I asked her, I say, you know, if that's the case, why are there so many people of faith who are depressed? Why are there so many people of faith who are not living? There's a disconnect there, because if God's plan is to prosper you and you claim a faith, but that faith hasn't renewed you in any way, then there's some work that needs to be done. Essentially, the faith without works there is dead.
Mm.
And I was professing out of my mouth what I believed, but I understood at that point there was some work that I wasn't doing. And then I had a conversation with my uncle, because I love business. Entrepreneurship is big to me. And he asked me a question. He said, you know, what is your biggest asset in your business? And we're talking, I'm like, computer. I make beats. Computer's my mic. It's like, nah, it's your brain. If you can't function, your business doesn't run. And at that point, I realized the mind was the building block to reality. And the reason why my reality didn't change, the work that I needed to do to match with the faith, was to work on my mental health. And so I truly believe that, one, I could create whatever reality I want through mastering my mind. And so that's why music just happened to be my outlet. It would have been anything. God blessed me to fall into the music trap, and I love it, and I'm thankful for it. So music was just the outlet, but I knew I had to do something to work on my mind and master it and get the emotions out and be able to cope and not bottle it in, so that it came out in repressed ways. I had to really, release that. So that's really the reason why I put it in the music there.
Some healthy ways right there, man. I want to lean into that faith um kind of aspect that you brought up. Like, I want to really dive into that, and I want to pull from the Bible a little bit. Hebrew 11:1, but correct me if I'm wrong, please, says faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen, right? And I agree with that, but I also think that there's another side of it, right? Although we can't see things physically with the eye, we have envision, right? God has already
We've been
put certain
or even in our thoughts and we've actually experienced, we felt it.
right. He didn't already put it on us, right? We receive these downloads. He puts things on our spirit. We have that intuition. So we have that envision, right? We can see what we need to do, right? And I think sometimes there's two things. Like, either people don't have the patience, but they have the confidence, or they got the confidence and they don't have the patience. And a lot of times people don't have the confidence to know, like, yo, I can make this thing happen. I can make it work. And then oftentimes people may have the patience. You feel me? Or it's vice versa. Or they don't have the patience, but they got the confidence. Like, yo, I want this thing to happen on my own time. They can't wait. They can't sit still, because it's like, what I'm learning is like, yo, anything that I want, it's attainable. It's going to happen, but it's like, when it's gonna happen? It's not on my time. So it's like you have to sit still throughout that process, and it kind of humbles you. And I just would love to like hear you guys' thought process on that a little bit.
Well, it goes back to what we're essentially talking about, which is the mental. Um, there's mind, body, and soul. Um, that go. I put soul, spirit. You could alter. You could interchange those because they are two different things. But it's knowing that, okay, my soul and my spirit is receiving this thing. My soul and my spirit. My soul no. My spirit is feeling it. So now I gotta get my mind in order with it. And when I get my mind in order with it, my body is going. It's like a 3 to 4 fold cord that you got to put together, if that makes sense. And it's knowing, okay, I got the vision. Now you spoke about confidence and you spoke about patience. So it's like, how do I make that connect? And that's the biggest thing. And it's knowing that, okay, I've been there. And the thing I love about wisdom don't, like God, when he give you wisdom, he don't give you details. But if you tap into wisdom, but you gotta get it in your conscience. You gotta really get it in your conscience, because then you will find yourself just doing stuff, and as you just do, you will see the dots connect. Like you won't even have to. You'd be like, hold up, how did I do that? It's because you tapped into your divine presence and your essence. It's tapping into wisdom, because wisdom is infinite. It's infinite intelligence. It know way more than what we know and what we could know. That's why when you get that hunch in your spirit, you gotta just go. You gotta. Ain't no time to be doubting. Just that spirit told you, so that means it's time for you to do it. Quit asking when. Do it. Faith without work is dead. You got the faith, you got the vision, now you just got to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
No, for real.
I'm a lean into that real hard, right? With the faith without works is dead, and tapping in and leaning into it. I think one of the biggest things, and I love both points that you made, Kari and Kai, you set it up, right? Because you were talking about confidence versus patience, right? So when you get into that medium of what should I do? You playing double dutch. What do I do? Where do I go? One, you got to have the confidence to do it. And if you don't, it's okay. Even if you don't have the patience, that's okay too. What you do need to have is the trust. And we're here to talk about faith. So even if you make the wrong choice, as long as you stay connected to God, whether that's through prayer, whether that's through fasting, whether that's through just waking up in the morning and say, God, thank you for waking me up. Look, I don't know what I'm doing. Just being humble. I don't know what I'm doing, but just guide me. Even if you make the wrong choice, he's going to put you back on the path. It might not be what you want. He might slap you upside the head like, look, you know what I'm saying? But even through the adversity, he's going to put you right back on that right path. And when you get that, you know what I'm saying, it will be that feeling of calmness and easiness. And even if you got to go through trials, look at the different chapters. Job, look at the different, different key characters that we have to look up to. Why are you going to get these characters if you're not supposed to learn from them? So even when you have to deal with adversity, suck it up, deal with it, but then no, he's going to put you back right. Just have that faith, have that calmness about it. So that's where that patience size come in, and even with that confidence, that's where that come in. If you don't have it, it's okay. He gonna develop. Don't even trip.
can I lean into that real quick?
For sure.
Something that came into my spirit. Matthews 18:3. It's a reason that he tells us to be like a child. When we think about a child is humble. A child is trusting. A child is forgiving. A child ain't, it don't have us, we adults, we have our experiences with the world, so we think that we know everything. It's a reason that God reminds us to be like a child, because a child doesn't question his parent. A child, when a parent tells a child something, the child takes that parent's word as law. So we have to learn to do the same thing in faith and stop being so smart and having all the answers, and just learn to just trust, have faith, believe. Live in an imaginary world like a little kid do. A kid walk around happy, ain't worried about nothing, ain't trying to figure nothing out. It just be, my daughter just be messing. So that's how we gotta be as creators, as children of God. Just mess, go through stuff, explore, see what you can get.
Look at the birds. I love the birds so much. I provide for them. You don't think you better than the birds? You don't think I'm gonna take care of you better?
It's real.
That's straight from God, bro.
Man, be not conformed to the ways of this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? When I read that verse, man, God gave me this revelation that's changed my life. This is really like a lot about what I make music about subconsciously is about this. And it's this concept people talk about alignment a lot. I need to be aligned. You see people might meditate or whatever they're talking about. But, you know, the way I see it is, you know, when you know God is supposed to renew your mind. And when your mind is renewed, it changes your actions. We spoke about the difference between mind, body, flesh, or mind, spirit, and flesh. I had to realize at a point, because we talk about confidence versus patience and being able to step out even when you don't feel it. At a point, I had to realize that if I let it go the opposite way and let my body tell my mind what to do, and then go to God in prayer and tell God what I want based off the flesh, my mind could become a part of my flesh. And so when God said, you got to carry your cross to be with me, or the last shall be first, what that means is that part of you that sometimes you got to sacrifice who you think you are, or what you feel you want, and just so when you say confidence, you just got to walk out into it, and I believe that comes with a renewed mind to understand that, yo, like some of the stuff I put in my music, bro, could be embarrassing to somebody who's worried about what people think about them or how I appear in public or how I sacrificed it. I put the things that I put out in the music are literally what I nailed to the cross and said, yo, like, this is what y'all can have. This is what God gave me so that I can give to the world, and regardless of how it looks. And I think that's done a great deal for me mentally. One, because it's allowed me to, you know, do great things in music. But two, it's shown me that, you know, the bad things that I do don't define me. It's not my identity. My identity was given to me well before I was ever born. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Amen. Nah, literally. So we talked about some of the positives, you know, a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, if there are any things that you guys currently do struggle with, you know, with your mental health or just navigating your journey as a creative?
Man, you gonna always it's that negative voice. It's opposition. We all can agree on it. You lying if you say, nah, I don't. I'm 100% confident. I always know this is gonna, like, bro. Everybody has the negative voice. Everybody has the lower self and the higher self, and it's overcoming that lower self every day, overcoming obstacles. Because we can have the plan, but every day we don't feel like abiding by the plan. So overcoming that lower self. That's just, I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll let the brothers dive into that or give they just overcoming the lower self.
I agree though. I agree 100%, and I speak on just myself on that too. Like it's always gonna be the angel or the devil. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to choose. And when you really think about it, they you know do like angels are white, devils are red. But when you look at the yin yang, you're gonna do light or dark. And so when you're dealing with that, right, human existence, the what we go through on the daily, you're gonna be fed darkness by people. You're gonna be fed light. It's your job to choose. The difference is, and I was just talking to my uncle about this because it was messing with me, dog. I thought about it. I'm like, I know you guys have seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Have y'all seen it?
Yeah.
Right. Slugworth, the dude that was trying to manipulate and get the kids to sell Willy Wonka out, right? He wound up at the end of the movie working for Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka was just trying to test Charlie to see if you were to the chocolate factory. So I'm asking my uncle, like, man, look, God created all of us. How the devil didn't create himself. So like evil, like that God had to create it, or that exists in some realm because nothing can create itself. But when you look at it, if the devil is an extension of God, right, that and that temptation, that's still a part of the test. So when you're dealing with it, the thing that separates us is we have the free will and choice to choose. I get to choose to be better than these thoughts. I get to choose, and we all have a choice, and we're gonna have to deal with the choices that we make. So every day, the person who cut you off, it might be a person that's not black that says something to you that only a black person probably has the authoritative figure to say, and you feel that pain or you feel that energy, and you like you choosing in that moment what to do and how to navigate that. One, you're not wrong. Two, it makes you human. But then three, having the power to choose is what gives us that ability to say, what am I dealing with today? Let me reflect on that. And I think I caution a lot of people to sit with those emotions and don't react. One, because your safety is what matters to me most. Get home safe, please. Two, don't pin him up, dog. He probably don't, he don't even understand the energy we carry. And then three, when you're dealing with that, you can reflect on yourself and see what your internal world is like, see what you need to work on. I'll use this as my last point because I don't want to take up too much time. But when my grandmother almost passed away, 2024, bro, I'm sitting there with the darkest thoughts because this is the person that means the world to me. Like you talked about, Kari, the grandmother's love. You know, I grew up with my younger mother, and you know, to her nature, she had some issues that it was abusive in nature. Cool. My grandmother was there to show that love. This person's about to pass away. This is the only good link I have to the world in this moment. If that leaves, shit, that angel on the side is really getting his butt whooped by the devil. Like, I'm ready to let it all go at any moment. Whoever wanted, let's get it popping. And to have to choose that choice. She didn't pass away, thank God, but she's looking at me in pain saying, Eric, you got to be good. And I'm like, bro, how do you know what I'm battling right now? I do not know how you know. You must be in between life and death. But I thank you for telling me that because I'm struggling right now.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, you got me tearing up a little bit, bro. For real.
That's real.
And I think that when we talk about mental health and the negative elements of it, especially on my journey specifically, one, I like to define mental health in a way that a lot of people can understand it. It is essentially your relationship with yourself. And I think it's split in between two things. It's your efficacy or your ability to do things. Can I do it? And then your worthiness. Am I worthy of the success that I'm going to get? And I think, for myself growing up in the faith, I struggle a lot with worthiness because I know like the glory of God. And when you're so intimately close with that ideal of perfection, but you're also just as close with your sin, it can make you feel a certain type of way about yourself. So even though I know
Hell yeah. Yeah.
and how I act, I don't feel it. Like I can't, feel it in life. And and that manifests itself in vice, smoking, drinking, around people, looking for women to validate you. But really what you're doing when you look at yourself and what I've done when I look at myself in a way that's less than who I really am, I go out into the world and I look for opportunities to validate what I feel about myself. So the person who might have rejected me, I might have caused that because I already felt rejected going into the situation.
Mindset, man.
Thinking that you wasn't even worthy of it.
Yeah.
I self-sabotage
Yeah.
cycle because the same vices that you run to for the gratification and make you feel good in the moment, once that wears off, it actually makes you feel worse than you felt originally. So the negative part about it is that cycle. And that's why I'm very grateful for music, because I made a song called Lord early in my career, really when I chose the name Who Am I to talk about my self-discovery journey. And essentially the song is like, yo, God, I mess up. I'm not going to be perfect. I can't do it. But if you allow me to put it into music and you allow this music to impact people, I'll just be eternally grateful. And so when I say it, I really mean it. Like without music, I don't know where I would be because I wouldn't have that like, I really just wouldn't feel good about myself. I wouldn't feel worthy of much of anything. And that's just the God's honest truth.
Bro, that's powerful. All of y'all, man. That was deep. And I think for me, it's like I try to take note of my people, places, and things. Right. When we think about mental health, it's like having a sound mind and the way that I view, like you said, the way that you view yourself as well as the way that you view the world. Right. Do the people that I have around me, are they conducive of what I have going on? Are they in alignment with me? Right? Do they speak life into me? Do they pour into me? Are the places and the environments that I'm surrounding myself in, is it conducive of where I want to go, right? The things that I'm putting into my body, does it align with where I want to go? And when those things are not in alignment, that's when we see people dealing with depression. That's when we see people dealing with anxiety, man. So to say, I say all that to say is like, what advice would you all give to somebody that's struggling on their mental health journey or just their journey of navigating being an artist and a creative?
Extend yourself some grace. Like,
Facts.
like that's the biggest thing. Like, extend yourself some grace. Be forgiving to yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. I'm not even gonna say fail. Allow yourself to just make mistakes. Allow yourself to learn. It's okay to suck. Like, I'm gonna just be real. It's okay to suck. Long as you're being intentional about your growth and you're putting the time in to develop and get better, that's what it's about. Because if you woke up tomorrow with everything that you needed, the journey wouldn't be worth taking. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Shakari, I gotta follow up, brother. I got to, because even at my age, bro, I'm in my 30s, and I'm still learning and understanding at this moment right now what grace is. So for that, I'm gonna take the time to define it, bro, because I learned it recently watching Prison Break, right? Netflix special. But grace is when you still get favor and things happen to you in favor when you don't even deserve it.
Cook.
And when you deal with something like that and you understand the concept of grace, I might not deserve this, but because you are my child, this comes from God. Because you are my child, I'm still going to love you, bro. I'm not going to turn away from you. So don't you dare turn away from me. So learning what it is to have grace, that's the first thing. Then when you can't have grace with yourself, give grace to somebody else, because as you pour out your body, think about how placebos work. I could give you a sugar pill right now for a headache and tell you it's an Advil or a Tylenol. You might think it's a Tylenol. You're going to be like, damn, that Tylenol worked great. I ain't even tell you it was a sugar pill. So you being nice to somebody else, it's in your mind, you're like, well, damn, I could do this for myself. And you start to just adhere to it, instinctually, bro. So if you're an artist, I'm gonna say make what you need to make for you. Let people attract to it, but then on top of that, just continue to refine yourself. Continue to try to get close with God. Continue to expand your mind. You don't have to be Einstein. Just resonate with whatever you resonate with, and takes time. I think I'm gonna end on this note. I think a lot of times we don't mental health, right? People are not taught how to slow down, and in today's world, that's the
That's
hardest
where
thing to do.
that anxiety come from.
Slow down and just breathe and feel everything, even if it's dark. You gotta feel it. You cannot run away from it. What do we say? Faith over fear, period.
Gotta be
Man, yo, I want to touch on something really quickly because I think, Chad, I talked to you about this a little bit, but like, as overly ambitious people, sometimes like it's so hard to do what you just said, Eric. It's so hard to sit still because it's like we're always trying to evolve and ascend and get to the next thing. It's like, man, like, yo, I battle with that so much. Like, damn, like I'm not doing enough. But in reality, I am. And what's kind of kept me grounded is understanding, like, yo, I'm right where I need to be. I have everything that I need, right? You know what I'm saying? I got the house, I got the car, I got the job. I'm doing the things that I want to do. Like everything is aligning for me perfectly. And that has really helped me so much, bro, just within the last couple of months. And I can see how much God has just been showing me favor, and I've been getting that clarity. Us being here right now, like a couple years ago, I probably would have been scared to step out here and just do this. So it's like, yo, yes, bro. Chad, I'll let you go ahead. I just had to get that off real
Can I
quick.
say one thing? I just want to say one thing, brother. I don't want to interrupt. And it's also important to teach people that even if you don't have that clarity, to still have that confidence, because these things don't define you. You are okay, whether you get it or not. It's gonna come.
Jeez, bro. I'm gonna let that sit because I got a lot to say about anxiety and that ambitious, But I think y'all hit the nail on the head there. I would say to anybody struggling with mental health, especially a creative, but this is key for everyone. And this it might come off weird, but it's backed by science and it's something that's backed by experience that at least in my life, um, thoughts follow actions. Actions don't follow thoughts. And so as an artist, a lot of artists spend a lot of time waiting for motivation to do what they got to do. Um, but what we don't understand is like, and we mentioned it earlier. I love how we broke down, mind, body, and spirit, right? Because this is different from the person in my head, like the mind in my head. And really what's happening is I'm watching my life like through my eyes as if it was a movie.
little.
And y'all know in the movie it's a person we hate in the movie, and it's a person we love in the movie. And if you act like the person you hate, well, you're gonna hate yourself. That's what you're watching. But if you act like you love, the motivation is going to spring from your actions because you're telling yourself, "Nah, I am that person that can make the music. I am that person that can find the entrepreneurship. I am." How? Because every day after work, I worked on it. I might have skipped a couple of days. I needed some rest. And to that point, and I what helped me with that, because I'm the same way. Even knowing that thoughts follow action, it actually makes me want to work harder. But I actually been full on stopped, like not doing nothing for weeks on end, like depressed, really stopped. And that showed me that slow motion, I forgot what they say, slow motion better than no
Slow motion
motion.
better than no
I,
motion. Oatmeal better. Still.
Really at motion, you really find an appreciation for slow motion, because it was times where I'm like, I'm not doing nothing, and then I really wasn't doing nothing, and I wished I was at the spot that made me stop in the first place. And so any little thing you could do, even if it's just all I could do is get out of bed, pray, eat, go on a walk, and then come back inside.
So win.
That's
You don't even go.
that's a win. I think sometimes
Done.
you need that
That's a
to get back grounded, right?
That's a win. You ate, you woke up, you connected with your savior. That's a win. Might not seem like much, but you didn't sit in that bed and feel sorry for yourself.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Listen, I know I got like one more question. I had to get this off. It might be a little controversial, but I was having a conversation with my grandma just today, and I was telling her about the conversation that we was gonna be having today, and the connection between faith, mental health, and music. You know, we agreed to disagree, and I don't think this way, and I don't believe this, but she believes that you can't call yourself a man of God or a Christian and make rap music. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So if I make music that glorifies Jesus, I'm just a preacher on a beat. I'm preaching on a beat. What's it different if I'm saying the same thing that a preacher's saying? I'm just saying it over a beat. What makes me any different from the person that's standing in the pulpit?
I mean, I second that, man. I would say, and I see faith a lot different than a lot of people. So, the answer might be just as controversial as the question for me. but I'm not really connected to titles as much. So when you say yourself a man of God, I don't really care to call myself anything. I really want to live it. And I know more than what, any traditional structure could tell me is of God. I know when I sit and I make this music, I know who's over me. I know where I'm getting that inspiration from. And so I don't really care for the titles. I don't care to fit in with anybody who and there's no disrespect. I've gotten this a lot, so I'm not specifically, but anybody who claims to be a guardian of the faith, or I don't care to let anybody like, oh, are you a man of God? I'm just not that kind of guy, man, because I connect with God directly, and I know what the music is doing, and so I just like the tunnel vision on that. You know what I'm saying?
I want to double back
Well
on everybody.
said.
That was a good one.
I mean, you could get in if you want, and I can hold it. You good. You good.
Cause and that's why. Cause with me saying minister, I'm gonna be real. When I say minister, people think preacher, pastor. No, I'm just spreading the gospel. It's not traditional. It don't look traditional. I don't look traditional. Standing in the pulpit, when I was preaching, I even learned with that, bro, long as you know, that's all that matters. Because when I stand before Jesus and I give an account for everything that I've done, he not going to ask me about nobody else or their validation or their approval. He going to ask that I love my neighbor as myself. He going to ask that I love God with all my heart, body, and soul. He not going to care about none of them titles. Because my thing is, you got people that can sit in the pulpit or sit in church leadership. They could be just as wicked as the person that you condemn evil doing music. I'm talking about they could be a devil. We just gonna call it for what it is. I done seen some stuff in the church, bro. I done seen certain conversations that be had. It's like now I'm so comfortable being me and being raw. Like I love Brother Eric. I love that he uses his vernacular how he chooses to, and that don't define him as a man of God because that's expression. Like I used to think like you love God, you ain't gonna be doing this. No, we got this all screwed up. We got it all screwed up. We done made it so complicated. We done made it complicated. Even with religion, we done made it complicated.
Sure.
I'm a Christian with you see it on my neck. We done made it. I seen it on my brother's fingers with the rings. We done made it so You tell a traditional Christian, I ain't even supposed to have that on my neck, bro. We done made it so complicated, and I'ma just leave it at that. It ain't as hard as we make it seem.
I'm gonna give you my lasting thought on that, bro. One of the things I was told as a therapist, right? Because I used to think about, thinking about not why me, but sometimes I'm gonna just be raw, dog. Sometimes I look at my life and I have thought, why the hell did I go through this? You feel me? And then one of my professors changed my whole view. He said, listen to me, E. You can only take your clients as far as you have been. So why not you? You feel me? Why not you? You can only take them. You have to be able to resonate. Think about Jesus, dog. Jesus ain't kick it with the people in the church. Jesus kicked it with the people that was out there bad, doing dirt, prostitutes, all that. And so when we look at a man of God, you know what I'm saying? All respect to your grandmother. All respect to grandmother's period, man. Shout out mine, shout out yours, everything, bro. But it's had that perception is the key of that. The way you perceive people. In the church, the perception is you dress nice for church. But the main root of church is come as you are.
As
So
you
when
are,
you
just
deal,
show up.
yeah, just come here so I can love on you. Period. So when you think about that, dog, I think the biggest thing is, you know what I'm saying? Like when you say man of God, it's just I'm a person of God. I'm a man of God because I know how to love. I have the capacity to love on someone else.
Mm.
Period, bro. So when you get down to that concept of breaking it down like that, can I be a man of God and make hip hop music, rap music? Yeah, I love the damn squirrels on the trees. I love the dogs. I love the babies. You
I,
catch me out, I'm waving at children.
uh,
So I have the capacity to love everything God created. That doesn't mean I love it every single moment or every single day, but I have the capacity every day to wake up with love in my heart. So if by traditional stance, that doesn't make me a man of God, but by the concept of what Jesus preached and what God stands for, that makes me a man of God. So I'm going to use my voice and talk about the pain, talk about the rawness. If I only speak in a language where the holy or the perceived holy can hear, and I don't use curse words or I don't talk about drugs and all this other stuff, it'll never resonate with the frequency of the people I'm supposed to pull up. Period.
And it's just like that.
For real, dog.
Yo, man, good brothers. This was very powerful. Like this was healing for me and my inner child, man. And I'm hoping the people in the live really gain some knowledge and just some wisdom from this. So listen, I appreciate y'all. Let the people know where they can find y'all as well, and keep doing y'all thing, man.
I am Shakari J. I'll type it and put it in the comments below. Brothers, we gonna have to stay connected, even if because it's our first time together, and it feels like we gotta just stay connected as black men, uplifting each other, community. The Bible tells us that one is easily overcome, two is a little stronger, a threefold cord is not easily broken. We gotta stay connected, even if it's just us in the morning, putting some positivity, checking in with each other. God didn't let this happen by mistake nor accident. He didn't.
I'll sound off on that. My Instagram handle is I live on paper. Mekhi and Shakari, I stay in y'all DM. But
Yeah.
who am I? Let's link up, dog. Let's do this because I'm excited to see how you think as well, and just to be empowering and motivating where I can, and to have another brother's shoulder to lean on is amazing.
Amen.
So I agree with everything that's been said, and I also appreciate the platform. Thank you, Mekhi, and thank you guys for being vulnerable. I really appreciated the space. Just for the therapist to be able to have therapy too is amazing.
Honestly, I piggyback off of what everyone else said, man. This has been a blessing to me. I was just praying, just about people and community and how it feels like so alone on this journey. And this is exactly what I need. If you guys want to tap in with me, it's whoamitv.tv. That's WHOAMITV.tv. That's my Instagram handle and also my website, where you can find music, some podcasts, merchandise, and anything really about what I represent. So I would love to tap in with you guys personally and anybody else listening as well. I think that would be great. But thank you for having me. Like I said, this is a blessing, man, for real.
That's love. Man, listen, if you're new here, make sure you guys go give us a follow at the Better Days Project. Tap in with us, check the website out, the YouTube, everything, man. We're doing a lot of great work in the community, and we're just reshaping the way that people view mental health and how it's seen and prioritized in communities. And this is the start, man. I appreciate y'all again, and I'm looking forward to continue to build with y'all, man. It's a pleasure. Peace. Y'all have a good
Peace,
one.
love.